Hello, formers. Welcome to Tinks Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional development for today's items only. The investment I'm going to talk today would be Ethereum Today. It's my second posting up today. With respect to recording time of 12:43 p.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum currently trading $4,777, down about 0.73% so far. On the overall crypto market and the equity market, I would say it's relatively red today. Right, you could even call this a bloody day across the spectrum. Beside Cardano, which with the triple whammy of the positive signals that we've talked about, right? The preliminary golden cross, the depletions on the RSI scale, and at the same time a downward wedge, all converted into the surge that we're seeing right now, up about 7.34%. So this is basically just a technical coming into fruition, right? So it's no surprise, something we've been talking about for the last 5-6 videos so far, I would say. And on the equity side of the house, we had a relatively moderate day early part of the morning. I would say from 9:30 a.m. as the equity market opened, all the way till around like 12 or 11:45 p.m. a.m. On the Eastern time. As more news percolated around the debut of the CPI report that's coming out tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m., we're gonna see a couple of relatively sizable macro event-driven factors, right, with respect to the initial and the continued jobless claim numbers that we'll be hearing more, and also with respect to the consumer price index on seeing how is the purchasing activity among our residents in the U.S., right? So something we're looking out for, and also with respect to the market gains that we are now, if you count historically, 6 consecutive week of surge, right, on the entire equity market, you are basically seeing some sort of exhaustion, knowing the fact that all technicals on the index, right, screaming basically on the industry, overall market front, we've been relatively overbought right now, right? So today it's just more of sell the fear and buy the or like maybe kind of like sell the rumor, buy the news type of affectation on what's going to be happening tomorrow, which frankly is still going to be a binary outcome, right? But it seems like on the media front is saying more of a negative sentiments, right? And when that happens, it triggers some sort of sell-off. On top of that fact that with respect to Tesla, as we can see right now, it's down about 10%, right? Down 10.16% right now. And this is basically the technical coming true, right? And I think for Tesla, right now selling down to basically test the correlating level that we've had before the next surge up of the $1,035, $38 is basically the level that we've had formed, and now we're basically matching it right now. So would I advise buying Tesla the dip today? I think maybe, but if you want to hold long term, but we are forming a depth cross. You can see that the whale is, fusing together. We are at the 54, so we're at the neutral level, not overbought like the way we were before when we were basically screaming at 94 out of 70, which we know that's enormously crazy at the trading level of the 1243, right? And that should technically translate that there would be some sell-off, but I think the bottom technically would be somewhere around if we break the 1,000, we'll be going to like 950 for like a slight dip, and then it should reverse from there. I don't foresee us to be going down to like all the way to like the 600 all over again. That makes no sense. And the sell-off is mainly because of the market overstretch and also because of the confirmatory signals from Elon Musk that he is going to be selling the holding, right, the 10% of Tesla shares of $25 billion of total worth, right? So this is something that's confirmed, and that's the reason that we're triggering the sell-off. On the other side of the spectrum, on the overall market, is because of the CPI report that we talked about, right? So with respect to Ethereum right now, we're down about 0.75%, and the correlation is really because of, again, right, the macro event of the CPI report that's coming out tomorrow, right? But beside that, we actually have some positive news that's been percolating for the last, I would say, 4 or 5 hours so far. So I'm just going to go through them in chronological order, and I'm going to go through the ones that are more substantive in a bit. So the first one is Bazinga's about 46 minutes ago. Talk about anonymous crypto wallet moves about 221 million worth of Ethereum from one wallet to another. So it seems like just another number drop, indicating that the whales are moving their wallets, but nothing really substantive, right? And the next one on Bazinga, an hour ago, talk about again, right? We talked about this morning. Discord CEO hinted at integration of Ethereum wallet on the Twitter post, right? Per Jason Citron. I think he posted something on Twitter yesterday about this potential integration. And then the next one's on 1 hour ago, and this is from a video or a news that happened about a couple hours ago on CNBC with Andrew Ross Sorkin, which is a CNBC host. He had an interview with Tim Cook, right? And Tim Cook basically revealed himself that he's currently holding Bitcoin and Ethereum as his personal holding, and he believes that it's reasonable to own as part of a diversified portfolio. You want to own some stocks, you want to own some crypto, you want to own some real estate, right? However, when Andrew, which is the correspondent from CNBC, asked Tim, what do you expect Apple to take Bitcoin or Ethereum as a form of payments, right? And Tim was like, that's something that has a potential of being in work, but nothing confirmatory yet, right? So this is something that we understand that Tim Cook personally, he is holding Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is great news, which is the reason why we're kind of sustaining our current level right now. But in terms of like integrating Apple with crypto assets yet, I don't think that's something that is they want to fully confirm with the public yet. But still good news overall. It's basically not now, but when is it going to be happening, right? I think it's not if, it's when, right? So that's a good I guess speculations, if you may, but with good foreshadow incentives, if you may, right? And then the next one is with respect to the same thing on Bitcoin. It's about 2 hours ago. Talk about Apple CEO Tim Cook holds Bitcoin Ethereum as part of the diverse portfolio. So something we already talked about. And then CNBC 4 hours ago talked about the Ripple launch, crypto service for financial companies amid legal battle with the SEC. And with that, the fintech startup Ripple, per Brad Garlinghouse on his depictions on Tuesday, which is this morning. He also mentioned that Ripple is to launch Bitcoin Ethereum Hub and plans DeFi offering. So another positive news, more like directly pointing towards the value proposition of Bitcoin Ethereum stem from the platform of Ripple, right? So all good news overall, despite the more of a normalized pressure that we're seeing right now. But remember, we are still at around the all-time high level for the respective coins that we talked about, right? For Bitcoin, basically like about $2,000, like $1,500 away from the all-time that we broke before, and Ethereum is basically like literally $50 away from all-time high that we broke before, right? So, so tomorrow is going to be an interesting one. So let's take a look at the technical analysis real quick. Right now on Ethereum, is still at the 70 out of 70, so we know what that means. But technically, tomorrow can be a binary day, right? If the CPI report comes out to be positive, right, showing more positive outlooks for the economy and more healthy buying pressure among consumers in the U.S., it indicates that the economy is slowly reviving and coming back up, and that should technically translate into healthy buying pressure on the equity market, and that should technically translate into some selling pressure onto the crypto market. It's kind of like the opposite side of the anti-correlation effect, right? And I think today's sell-off on the equity side is quite interesting. I think it's a little bit too overreacted, to be honest, because we are going to be hearing some preliminary jobless claims tomorrow, which is basically the mandates from for Jerome Powell on the quantitative tapering plan, right? So tomorrow is going to be is either they miss or they pass. If they pass, obviously we're going to see some buying pressure onto the stock market, and that will translate into the opposite effects onto the crypto market. But if it's the exact opposite, it might just be, it will allow for, crypto could continue to go up from here, right? So that's how I'm thinking about it. So it's ultimately binary, but we are ultimately in the business of, we're not gambling like, is it like black or red, right? We're not in a casino. We are in the business of risk mitigation. So the risk is still high for Ethereum at the moment right now. We're still at this, 70 out of 70. We're still forming a relatively large stretch up level on the MACD versus the signal line. And we've been searching for the last basically weeks now, a month and a half now, I feel like. So testing your luck right now is not the most risk averse move, if you may. You get what I'm trying to say? So with respect to Bitcoin right now, basically doing the same thing in comparisons to Ethereum, but the momentum's a little different because we just formed a golden cross right now. We're still at the 66 out of 70. So I think Bitcoin is definitely bullish right now. We're normalizing because of the CPI report that's coming out tomorrow. Basically, people are having some fear around that they want to hold some cash. It's just like, as a form of safe haven effect, even though it doesn't quite make sense because Bitcoin, it is a type of safe haven assets per some people's preference, right? It's not like really a pure safe haven assets. Is ultimately still like a new technology, a new financial assets, right? But people characterize it like gold or like some sort of like safe haven effects that you want to hedge against, obviously the inflationary or deflationary pressure, right? So that's one of the reasons why we're still seeing some sell-off. But on a technical front, we're still overbought, but we form a golden cross. So I think ideally hitting to 70K as a as a next level would not be surprising to us, right? As a for Bitcoin to get to the next level, and that's a flat number. That's why we're quoting 70K. But if we break above 70K, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit like 80K or even 85K per how, depending on how large the surge of the baseball curve is going to come up to in the trajectory perspective. Dogecoin is down about 2.31% right now, 55 out of 70. We are slowly fusing together. It's either we go up to the, again, 30 cents or we go down to the 20 cents. Right now, we're basically struggling. So in a more substantive level, it would be somewhere around like 25 and somewhere around like the 23. I wouldn't really touch it until we hit 23 to 20 cents level would be more logical for me to buy at. Cardano is surging up because of, again, right, the golden cross. We were depleted before, right? We've been depleted for quite some time. And because of the downward wedge, right? So right now we're surging and try to get to the next level, basically is the 235, which we got to it, but subsequently got canceled out. So if we break that again, we will go up to the 260, which is the next level. Solana right now is at 242.76. We're forming a curvature down. We still overbought 65, so ideally selling back down to a more of a normalized level. The first substantive level is somewhere around here, but I think this is still relatively premature. So I think buying at somewhere around 153 to 130. I think 130 is more of a logical level to 113. And those are the level that we'll be playing at as we deplete the RSI scale. XRP right now is selling off. Basically, we cannot get above 130, and we tried this many times. You could see that we did this many times. So coming back down to selling back down to 120 again, and then bounce back off again. 120 will be the first level dollar cost average. Second level will be 110. Polkadot right now is just selling off, and we're forming a def cross slowly with the 63 out of 70. So ideally selling back down to 42. Ideally selling back down to more of a consistent level of like 30 to 25 would be much more logical. ALGORAND's down about 4% right now with the 60 out of 70. So ideally selling back down to the 160 to 152 will be more logical. Shiba Inu is just hovering on a sideways fashion, not doing much, but it's still in a bearish trend. You can see that we've stretched up really, really large and then selling back down. We're kind of hovering because this is the level that we have consolidated before. But mainly sustained by retail investors right now. So ideally selling back down to like the 2788. Ideally selling back down to the 900 would be much more logical for us dollar cost average. And with respect to risk management levels, these are the levels I would ideally dollar cost average at for these respective coins as we deplete back to below 35 on RSI scale, as we deplete back to the preliminary golden cross that we've seen for Cardano, right? So definitely interesting day. It's going to be a volatile couple of days because of the CPI coming out tomorrow. I actually foresee it's going to be a positive one, actually. And that should subsequently revive the equity market to go back up. But that would technically translate into some selling pressure onto the crypto market. But I could be totally wrong because Bitcoin is still in a bearish state, in a bullish state. Apologies. So if that confirms and it's still going to be leaping up, we will have some more room to run up to the 70K. But we know that we're still overbought, so I don't foresee us to be like going all the way to 100K anytime soon yet. I think probably in Q1 next year. But 75 or 80K would not be surprising to me based on how we're forming right now. So hopefully this is helpful. Really appreciate you for dropping by again for a second video, and stay tuned for what's coming up. Take care.